to Smash Writing. We are still in our favorite time of the year.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
He said it himself. Today we are reviewing, I guess you can call it a cult classic?
Probably.
A cult classic film that...
Cult. Not a cult. A cult is bad.
And cult... we did, ranking through the horror films of each decade. And Event Horizon was in the 90s, and we both gave it number ones. So, we had to go back and go, let's rewatch it, and let's review, and let's see how good it really was. And...
It's tremendous. It's a wonderful, wonderful film.
First, it was...
Talk about what happened, I guess. What the movie's about.
Yeah, go ahead. Lead us off of that.
Lead us off of it. It's about this crew of people who are going out to
a rescue mission.
A rescue mission after the Event Horizon has been found. A famous spaceship that had disappeared.
7 years prior.
No one knew what had happened to it. Well, the guy on the ship, the Dr. Weir, he was the head of Event Horizon, and he knew what happened. And he explained to them that using a black hole, they were able to puncture and go somewhere else in the universe. But they lost contact when it went through. And now it's back, and he wants to see what happened. Was his wife, I believe, was one of the people on Event Horizon? But when they get there...
I don't know, because she was a suicide.
Yeah.
So they don't actually explain what caused the suicide part of that, her character clear, right? Yeah.
But when they get there, it's empty. There's no one around. Then they find footage of them going crazy and just horrible things, and chaos erupts from there as the ship is trying to pull.
It needs a new crew.
It needs a new crew.
And so that way they can restart the gravitational pull, the black hole, to take them back to the dimension. And that's something they explain, and they kept it so scientifically accurate, and still gave it that horror
supernatural science fiction.
Because they're like, okay, not only did this spaceship cut the distance in half or faster than that, but it actually went to another dimension, and that was the big deal. And that's where, and they even say what did Sam Neill? He said something like, "Where we're going, hell is like nothing," or something like that. It was like a real catchy little line there, and it's up to Miller and his crew to rescue this spaceship that they're shocked to find out is back in one piece, and he said, going through the footage and and that's the thing too, right off the bat, shit starts happening.
Yeah.
They didn't waste no time, and boom, all of a sudden it starts messing with people's minds of what's there and what's not there, and
the pacing of this was wonderful.
Yeah.
It starts out slow, and it builds, and once the ball starts going, it doesn't stop.
But even the slow part of the film, I was okay with.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't a long, slow pace. It wasn't 40, 50 minutes of them finding the ship. Boom, it was okay,
go.
We'll build it up as we get there.
When a friend of mine lent me this film, so I didn't watch it until a couple years ago, and a friend of mine lent me the film, he's like, it's like they were making a Hellraiser movie and they just forgot to put Pinhead in it. And it's kind of like that because of the hell dimension they were in and the brutality and the gore.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
The torturing.
They do it so well. And the actors really killed it.
Sam
Neill as Dr. Weir was an excellent choice.
Lawrence
Fishburne going against him as Miller.
Yeah.
Like that hard-nosed captain who's for his men. He will die to save his people, and you feel that.
And we know why. And that's the thing. They even threw in enough character development. here Miller is as a captain. He's like, my crew's my family. He even tried to was it Peters that has the child?
Yeah.
And they were on the leave because they just came back, and because I guess they were one of the more elite teams to on rescue missions, the Space Force or whatever system they're using pulls them back, says, we got this top mission for you to go to. So he even said, hey, I try to get you to continue your break so you can spend time with your family, because obviously in space travel, you're there for years. And basically, the timeline of this film is what, like 7-8 months, because they go in stasis, they get to the Neptune, and then they stay on the Event Horizon's stasis mode for like 72 days. So they're pushing like 4 to 6 months just on this rescue mission. So you see that he cares deeply about his crew. But then you learn there's a reason, and that's because before he was a captain, he was on another crew, and he left a member behind because it was saving the other team. Sacrifice one for the 1,000 type of storyline, and that haunts him. And he even tells his other crew member, and the guy's like, "I've known you for a long time. You never told me that." He's like, "That's just it. This ship knows me, and I haven't spoken." It was like that real creepy feeling.
The psychological aspects of this movie are amazing. Now,
Even how Peters died, that was tricky, because like there was nothing there, but then the mind games led her down the shaft, and she must have went back up because she died right next to the gravity machine. So it was crazy how they tricked you into going different ways, and it all looked the same until you died.
I like the fact that he's that hard-nosed captain, and you almost expect him to be the one who goes off the reservation, but it's not. It was weird, and I like that dichotomy of it was weird to go crazy.
And the adding the creepy Latin and dark space, and God, the crazy thing is they could almost do a sequel. I don't want to say it, but they could almost do a sequel, because
sequels are not a bad thing
if they do it right.
could
Because
Paul W.S. Anderson pull off a sequel, or would it have to go to somebody else?
I would give it to somebody
I
else.
would give it to somebody else too.
Because he did Mortal Kombat 2, Annihilation, and that was...
Well, he had a lot of things going against him. I don't think he did Annihilation, did he?
I don't know.
I thought that was somebody else.
Maybe.
Yeah, that was somebody else.
Well,
no,
he had problems.
He goes off the reservation a lot anymore.
He had problems even getting this film off the ground. Originally, there was...
with something like Blumhouse around now, I think they jump at the idea.
Yeah, because what we're talking about...
Like you can bring back Miller's kid or something you can just...
You could almost bring Miller himself back.
Yeah, and Miller, that would be great too.
Because here's the thing, the back part of the ship never exploded. It went into to the black hole that it created. So the ship, Sam Neill and Lawrence's characters, Weir and Miller, they're still technically alive. While Neil's character is more
gone.
Yeah, in a different way, but Miller would technically still be alive, because all the ship did was go into the black hole, which we know from the previous films that obviously it never got it succeeded its mission. It's just you just didn't know where.
You ended up in a really bad dimension. You did not end up.
Yeah, they were going. So they were originally going to a, and I'm kind of a space nerd. They were going to a star, a Proxy. I know it's Proxy something. And it's the closest star to us. What would take 11 light years, which is like trillions of years, they could get there in I think they said 4 or 5 days. So that's where they were going. But when they opened the black hole system, the black hole took them somewhere else. And that's the whole point. They did not complete the mission. They were successful in traveling, time traveling in space, but not where they were going. When they, you said that another highlight of this film was the footage of them
That
watching.
footage is tremendous. I love it.
When the
Oh.
filter footage, when they cleaned up the
Yeah.
zigzags. Oh my god!
They're just going crazy and eating each other and just... Oh.
Like they were like, looks like they were like raping each other and eating each other at the same time. It was the most horrible. But you know what? The way that film was going, that scene had to be that type of crap. It could not just be like cutting somebody's throat. It had to go up and beyond.
Yeah, like it was... You know, Buddy was right. It's the Lament Box world. You're seeing the equivalent version of it anyway.
Yep.
Like, you could have put Pinhead in this movie and been believable. Like, yeah he's here.
Because they explain, like, you know, Pinhead's from hell, but they're like, where we're going, hell is a better place. You're going to a true chaotic world. So you're right, it did have that feel to it. When I got into this film, the opening credits felt like I was about to watch a Mortal Kombat film, because it had that, and that's the thing that threw me off. Like when I was watching, starting from the beginning, and I'm like, I'm okay with the song, but this song doesn't match the movie. You're thinking you're going to get like a action sci-fi film. Instead, you get this brutal horror film in space. The ship was badass. The actual ship was awesome to see. You know, they made sure the right people died and the right people survived. Wherever that chaotic world went, that fucked Justin up. Baby Bear, man, that put him in a suicide mode. But even he managed to live. Stark and Smitty.
Yeah.
They survived. Even Creepy Bean, and even the movie still had to end on like still a creepy feeling, because like Stark is having that nightmare that, you know, we're still alive and he's on the rescue team, and then it's like it's not. But even when the movie was ending on the so-called high note, just the fact that the doors were closing was like still kind of like, just get me off of that ship and get me home.
Yeah.
That's how it felt.
This is one movie that's like, oh, the sequel would be amazing. The sequel
Yes,
to I would be all for a sequel.
Because like I said, this became a cult classic.
I don't know why we haven't seen one yet either. Of all the sequels we have gotten to, but we haven't gotten an Event Horizon sequel.
There's been sequels from films that were significantly worse than anything you ever seen. You're like, how did this film get a sequel and this film didn't? I am confused. Now I get it. So when this film first came out, this film had a lot of problems.
Yeah,
Shockingly.
none of that matters.
But
none of it matters.
It was a financial failure at the box office, but from my research, the DVD sales and
the following
has
after matters more than what happened.
And like I says, now you go back, like, this might have been a film set to have sequels too, because it did leave an opening.
Yeah.
And it took me, watching it literally right before we were doing these episodes, to go, oh crap, the back ship didn't get destroyed. It just went into the black hole. So Miller is still technically not dead. He's alive. He's just going to that dark place. Then you could have so many storylines. You got
Peter's kid.
Peter's kid. You got Stark maybe wanting to go back and get her captain after years. You could have a Miller's family involved. You would have to bring Sam Neill back.
No, I think you'd have to bring both those guys back.
Oh, absolutely.
I still want to see them fighting. Like, all these years later, those two are still fighting.
Yeah, because the fact is, Miller ended the film as alive. He's just in space. So many. You could probably make a trilogy almost, or would you feel better part 2 and end it?
No, it depends on the story you're presenting.
So the gory kills were awesome.
The gore, the prosthetics, the
story. You put something in space.
The characters and the actors involved. S movie. S tier movie.
Yeah, I have to give it the S level as well, because it's the only negative, and this is nitpicking, like really, because we were talking about this on this way here, is the graphics for the ship exploding.
Just hit him with a rock when you shoot.
Could have been slightly better, but
hit him with a rock.
But still, perfect movie.
The psychology, the gore, the scares, the torture of the crew.
The fast pace, the storytelling, everything was so good. I mean, the casting was on par. And you know, everybody has to up their game because, yeah, this, you know, you had Sam Neill, who in the 90s was coming off some big films. Because, you know, filming schedules all timed. Like, he probably signed on to this film just as he was signed on to Jurassic Park.
No, I think they were not. I can't even check it. I don't think they're close.
No, well, there's a 3-year difference, but if they signed, they could have signed him like right after or something, or right before. But then you have.
What are you talking about?
Then you have Lawrence. Like the casting was just all perfect. Like I didn't feel like there was a weak link.
No.
Like everybody was like, dude, we gotta carry our own. We gotta make each character's death you felt. How even the one that got dissected and hung up, like I said, that felt like Hellraiser. As much as this could felt like any other horror franchise, it still manages to stand out on its own.
Yeah.
It's like, it could have been like, I'm taking your idea and making it better and making it my own. What this film did is it made ideas its own. Perfect movie, and that's why we ranked it so high for our 90s episode.
Yeah.
So that's our review of Event Horizon, which one day we hope... You know what? I did read that Amazon back in 2017 was going to make a series.
Back in 2017.
Yeah, but talks have not...
They don't go bankrupt, make the Lord of the Rings. Jesus. They spend like billions on this series. Good Lord.
We don't want to drag this episode down with that.
No.
That. But until next time...
Bye-bye!